Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host. And today I have a special edition of Conversations with Nicole. We are talking investing, we are talking the Black community, we're talking about affordable housing, we are talking about gentrification. And so I have an exciting panel that is going to come before you. These are the members of the New Era Investments and Development Group here in Tallahassee. And so a few of the members I know, and they have actually been guests on Conversations with Nicole. One of them has not, but we're going to get her on here. And so I am super excited and delighted to have these young Black professionals on the show today. And so we are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on the Greater Works Network on RokuTV. So tag a friend, let them know they need to be here. Y'all just like, share. This is an important conversation, and not just for the folks here in Tallahassee, but across the continent, across the country, should I say, because we're seeing this everywhere in every major city, in your Miamis, in your DCs, in your New Yorks. And these folks are going to talk to you all about it. So I see you all chiming in. Hey there, cousin Denise. Thanks for being here. She's in Texas. And Javon, she said, this is my topic and jam. Javon is in Atlanta, the ATL. So thank you for being here, Javon. Appreciate it. So Javon, y'all, I don't know if you all are familiar with the legendary dean of the School of Business and Industry at FAMU, Sybil Mobley. This is her granddaughter. So there's that. All right. And TT is here with us. Yes. Thank you for being here. TT Talks. Appreciate you. Shout out to my girl. She is DJ, drone operator, occupational therapist. She got her own show. Look, she's doing all the things, right? An investor too, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So excited and delighted to have you here with us. So I am going to read our guest bios and bring them on so you all can greet them as well. So Dr. Bruce Strobel is the New Era vice president. I guess you know what? I should start with the president. We're going to start with Dr. Christopher Daniels. He is the president of New Era Investments and Development and leads the company's developmental projects. He has over 14 years of experience in real estate development in the Tallahassee area. And Christopher is also vice president of the Bond Neighborhood Association and a professor at FAMU. So welcome, Chris.
Hey. How's it going?
Going well. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Up next is Dr. Bruce Strobel, the New Era Vice President of Community Relations. He is a sustainability and resilience professional and anti-racism educator, and also works as a community organizer. Specializes in facilitating community-based efforts to push back against the impacts of racism. So help me welcome Dr. Bruce Strobel. Hey. Unmute.
Hey, everybody.
There we go. How you doing, Bruce?
I'm good. I'm great. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here. And last but not least, Miss Christina Lynch serves as the New Era Vice President of Business and Finance. Christina, we got Christian and Christina. Christina is the founder and owner of Trident Consulting, where she works to advance financial literacy and strategic development for local business. So y'all see why I got to have her on the show. She also serves as a business consultant at FAMU Small Business and Development Center and as the empowerment director at the Capital City Chamber of Commerce. So help me welcome Miss Christina Lynch.
Hey everyone. So happy to be here.
So glad to have you. And Mutaqee Akbar, who is the founder and owner of Akbar Thomas Law Firm, is also a member of the group. He is the vice president of government relations, and he is a renowned community activist as well as an experienced real estate investor. So Mutaqee is not with us at this time, but I did want to mention him for the sake of our conversation. So welcome, y'all. What's going on?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Nicole.
So tell me about New Era and what prompted you all to get this started.
Go ahead, Chris. Start us off.
Well, I mean, look, it really would start off as a dream, right? Just a crazy dream. I called Bruce like, hey, man, look, I got an idea. And it was kind of a crazy idea, but it was an idea. I was like, listen, why don't we get a bunch of young professionals together, pull our money together, and start buying properties in the neighborhoods, right? In Frenchtown and Bond and other neighborhoods around the community. So I called him. He didn't think I was crazy. So I was like, okay, well, at least one person doesn't think I'm crazy. So we began to start the process. I mean, it's been a lot between then and now. I mean, Bruce could probably share his perspective, but yeah, that's how it started, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Ultimately, Nicole, Chris reached out. And he had this idea, and he had the know-how to actually take it to fruition. He had been working in real estate for some time. I was not very experienced in real estate, but I was passionate about some of the issues that I felt he was attempting to address, particularly around gentrification, around Black people being able to have some ownership and stake in their communities. And those are things that were really important to me. And when Chris kind of laid out the plan, I wanted to jump in it with them. And it was just, happenstance. I had just happened to meet Christina right around the same time. We met at a farming event, and learned that she was very experienced in finance and business, and she kind of had the same share perspective as us. Chris brought on Mutaqee, and that's how we kind of all came together to start putting our ideas together about how we can move this forward. We start reaching out to other members of the community, and so many people were supportive of it right away. And that kind of told us it was a good idea, and that we could use our collective community power to kind of start taking action against the issue people have been complaining about for a long time, but we hadn't necessarily taken all the steps that we could to address it.
Okay. Very good. Well, it sounds like it was just a plan that kind of came together, like, like the perfect kind of jambalaya of things, and like-mindedness. That's what I'm sensing, that there's you all are like-minded individuals working towards a common goal, and that's very powerful.
Absolutely.
Very powerful. So let's see, how shall we start this? Well, first of all, I want to tell the viewers that this is an interactive live, which means that we welcome your comments, we welcome your questions. So don't be shy, don't be bashful. This is a safe space, and get your questions answered. And if we don't know the answers to the questions, we'll find out. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So Javon she said it can definitely ensure gentrification doesn't drive us out. So I think that's a good place to start. So let's talk about gentrification. What's that in terms of your definition of what it is? I mean, I hear people talking about it from a negative standpoint, but also from a positive standpoint as well. So yeah,
if you don't mind, let me start off on this one. I think gentrification often gets confused with development. Gentrification is kind of that process where you develop a community, the values go up, and then it erases or displaces the people who are already in the community. They can no longer afford to live there. Their culture is kind of uprooted and ripped out. Their community is uprooted and kind of ripped out. We're not here to argue that we want to support gentrification. In fact, we're taking a different approach to development, which helps resist gentrification by improving the value of the community, and at the same time continuing to find any resources we can to keep those homes affordable so that people don't get displaced. So I always have kind of pushed this slogan of development without displacement. And I think that's one of our main aims, is to develop and revitalize communities and then still make them affordable for the people who already live there, as opposed to having to go out and bring in new or outsiders into the community. And we're not saying, it's not 100%. It's okay for new people to move into the community, but it will not be because we're kicking people out or pushing people out. That's what has been a trend happening across the country to several Black communities, from Miami to Brooklyn to Chicago. It's happening all over the continent, as you said earlier, all over the country, we should say.
Yeah.
But we do have some strategies and some techniques at hand, and we can challenge it.
Okay. No, I'm glad you made that distinction, that differentiation, because I think that word gets thrown around so much without people pausing to define or, be real specific about what that is.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Chris, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, gentrification is a complex term. Is looked at culturally and also economically. So, what's unique about Tallahassee? Let me speak specifically on Tallahassee because in every city is different, right? So we have a lot of vacancy within a lot of the communities that we're invested in. So we're really removing vacancy. So there's no one being moved or kicked out because the place was already vacant, right? So long story short, our main focus is on ending vacancy. So we want to make sure that we get in, we purchase these properties that have been vacant or ones that are very run down and need to be brought up to standard, right? That's our main focus is making sure that we bring properties up to standard and that we bring properties we bring vacant properties back online, right? Because a lot of people want to live in these neighborhoods, but they don't want to live next to vacant houses, and obviously they don't want to live in substandard housing, right? So there's a minimum standard of housing that everyone deserves to live in, right? So you know, and a lot of people try to play this game of it's affordable. If it's substandard housing, it's not okay, right? So it doesn't matter if I'm charging someone a low rent if they're living. I mean, we'll share some of the pictures of some of the places that we purchased. I mean, if people are living in substandard housing, that's not okay, right? So we want to make sure that we have a minimum quality standard of housing and charge a rate that people can afford, but it has to be a combination of both, right? So it's a complex topic, because maybe some people could see things different ways, but at the end of the day, everyone deserves a quality place to live, right? And we have to make sure that we make that happen in every neighborhood across Tallahassee.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that word affordable. How do you all define that?
So affordable is basically based on the AMI or the median income or median income within a particular area. So, our rents, frankly, our rents that we're charging are below market rate and are well within AMI. So that's one thing that we've been proud of, that we've been able to purchase properties, at good price points, and we've been able to renovate them at good price points where we don't have to charge an exorbitant amount of rent, right? So let me kind of hit a little bit more into that, right? Because sometimes people charge more in rent because they want to, and sometimes they do because they have to, right? Because like when you go to a bank to get a loan, right, or to do a refinance or things like that, if you're charging below a certain amount, they won't give you a loan, right? So you cannot even finance a property if you're not charging a certain amount of rent, right? Because they'll think that you're not properly taking care of the property, right? So there's certain things like that, right? Now, certain people purposely raise the rent up to really, really high levels because they want to kick certain people out. I mean, I'm just going to be frank, right? So in none of our properties, you will see that happening, right? All of our properties, the rent is at an accessible level where people from all different types of backgrounds are going to be able to afford it. And that's one of the things that we're very proud of.
Okay. No, that's great. So for those of you who may not know, I do come from an affordable housing background. Worked for many years at the Tallahassee Lenders Consortium here in Tallahassee and for our state housing finance authority. So typically when you're talking about affordable housing, it's not Section 8, it's not public housing, although those are forms of affordable housing.
Sure.
When sometimes people hear affordable housing, they just think the projects. By definition, affordable housing speaks around about a third of your income going towards your housing expense. Okay. And once it gets above that, then you're talking about being house poor, because now more than about a third of your housing expense is going towards your housing. So for easy math, just say you you make $2,000 a month, you're looking at about 650 between 650 $700 going towards your housing costs. Okay. So once you get above that, then all of the other things are going to be strained, right? Because you got other things that you gotta take care of, right? So, and when I say housing, I'm talking about your rent, your mortgage. I'm not talking about utilities. I'm not talking about your, necessarily even like homeowners association or anything like that, but just your rent or your mortgage. All right. So just want to be clear in terms of what we're talking about when we say affordable housing. And while, again, I mentioned that your Section 8, your public housing are all tools in that affordable housing toolkit, it also consists of the projects that these folks are talking about, but it's also your Habitat for Humanity. It's apartment living. It's there's some community, there's some land trust opportunities out there as well. So it's a lot of different things in that toolkit that make up affordable housing.
That's correct. I mean, it's something that I think that a lot of people, more people can explore. For people who are on the investment side, there's a lot of great opportunities to invest there. Actually, frankly, I mean, most of the big investment funds are investing in affordable housing, right? We're fortunate because Tallahassee is a small city, so you don't get a lot of what we call institutional grade investors because they typically only invest in cities that have over 500,000 people. So as a result of that, we don't have those big hedge funds that's coming in buying like everything that you'll see in like a Miami or other places, Oakland, places like that, where it's just people coming in and buying everything, right? So because of that, we have a great opportunity, right? So this is what I'm trying to explain to people. They don't have this opportunity in other cities to come in and buy houses in these neighborhoods for relatively cheap and rent them out and keep them affordable. That's not happening in these other cities. You go to these cities, every single affordable house is being bought by a hedge fund, right? So we're very fortunate in Tallahassee, and that's why we have to come together to be able to act, because if we don't, there may be some action like that coming on the way that we don't know about. So it's something that needs to be done quickly.
Indeed. And I will also share too that a lot of times these municipalities, like the city of Tallahassee and Leon County, they receive either federal or state monies to provide some type of subsidy incentives, not only for the renter or the potential buyer, but also for the builder or the developer, right?
Yeah.
And so you need to check your municipality wherever you are to see if they are receiving some type of funding. Typically, it's going to be income based, but and based on the number of people in the household. But check and see what's out there, because that can possibly assist you with getting into something. All right, we actually have a question, and we got Commissioner Nick Maddox on the line. Hey, Nick, thanks for being here. All right. So Bascott said, is the ultimate aim to sell the property to individuals and families who rent them? How will eligibility to buy be determined? So are y'all clear on that in terms of what the question is?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Who wants to tackle it?
I mean, I can answer you. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, we have a multi-pronged strategy. So some of the properties that we bought, like for example, the property that we just bought is a duplex. So that's not a typical house that you would sell, to a family. So that was intended to be kept as a rental. However, we do have a couple single family properties that we're looking to develop, and we have a couple that we're looking at in bond right now that we intend to sell to families, and we also planning to get into new construction, right? So what we plan to do is we want to partner with organizations like TLC, other community-based organizations that already have like income-based programs. We don't want to reinvent the wheel, right? We want to just come in and work with people who are already doing these things. And if they have a buyer who's looking for a house, we have a house for them, right? And that's kind of our goal. So we do want to do some rental, and then also some for sale items to have a diversity within our portfolio.
Okay, sounds good. So tell us a little bit about this project in Frenchtown that you did, or that you're currently working on.
Yep. So with the project in Frenchtown, we purchased a duplex. We brought in a group of investors as part of our impact investor fund. We got I think we have 15 people, right? All just putting in low, I won't say low, but moderate investments. And what we were able to do is secure a property. And we've been going through a renovation process, which we are about complete at this point. And we're going to be renting those properties out, as Chris just mentioned, keeping the rates relatively affordable. And this is a really it's kind of our testament to what could be done just through community power. Like, no one had to come in and put in this whopping amount of money. We just pooled resources together. That way everybody's risk is minimized. And then that way we're also able to be a little more we're able to take more risk as a result of that. So, or I'm sorry, we're taking less risk, but taking aggressive action on some of the properties. So, and this is all through what we consider, or what is considered impact investing. And that's just where investors work to channel their dollars into good causes. And you look at the social impacts as well as the returns that you're going to get. It's not just financial and it's not all social. It's a mixture of both. So impact investments normally do reporting, and you'll see they give financial reports as well as you see the social impact of how your investment went. And I think I was doing some research earlier, and according to the Global Impact Investing Network, I think for 2020, 68% of all investors had a positive return. So it is something that's worthwhile. And there is risk involved. And I don't want to communicate that it's like a risk-free investment. There's still risk, but it's also taking a chance to improve upon a community or improve upon a societal issue. And that's what we're trying to use that strategy right here in Tallahassee. We also, you mentioned those funding that comes from the federal government, funding that you can get from your local government. We were just notified that we were receiving an award from the city of Tallahassee, $17,500 that we're going to put right into that home. And the goal is, like, I don't like when you could drive through a town and you could say, clearly I'm in the Black community now, because you could look around and see how it looks. So we want to do our part in investing into the community to make Black communities, white communities, and Latino communities look just as beautiful as any other community in in Tallahassee. So that's one of the things we're working towards, and we want to do that without, again, displacing the residents.
Love it, love it, love it. So I want to circle back. You talked about social investment. What does that look like?
It's simply like I stated. It's the idea of pooling community resources and putting it into a project that benefits the community. And it's not separated from the community. We are all invested in the community, not just financially. We live here, we work here, we have friends and family. My children go to school in this community. Yeah. So we're all connected to it. We're not outsiders coming in and buying up some part of town and then trying to change it to how we see fit. We're doing it in alignment with what we're hearing from people who live in these areas. And I think that's what makes the social impact. We're going to make the community stronger, build up the economic and cultural character in alignment with what's going on in other parts of Tallahassee.
I love it. I love it. That's great. So have there been challenges along the way with this project? I see smiles.
You want to speak to some challenges? You haven't said much.
I want to say,
well, everything. Just give us a few.
Christina, chime in on some of the challenges, and then I can say some from my perspective.
Okay. Well, so there have been a few challenges. One being, we are coming together as a group. So one, we want to be transparent. We want to get feedback. We want to make sure everyone knows what we're doing. But the first property may be the hardest because we have some resources to be able to get financing to purchase the home, but the leadership team has invested more. There's times when if cash flow is tight, we may be personally putting funds in. Like, so for instance, like with the press release, I paid that out of pocket, or there's things that Chris may have paid out of pocket to make sure that we can have the success story. So while as a group, we come together, the leadership team are the general partners. The rest of the investors are limited partners, right? So we're taking on the risk, but we also make sure that when we are trying to decide in what path to go into, we may have different perspectives, but we want to make sure that we come together as a collective and go in the same direction. So we've had conversations when, we may not agree initially, but we're working together and having to remember, hey, this is the ultimate goal. Are we aligned with that goal? What do we need to do? We may have to have compromises to make sure that when we leave, the room, that we're all on the same page and we're representing both the community and our investors. And then also finding people that will want to work with us. So financing is hard. It's a lot more complicated than people think it is. because, we had to take an alternative path to get to where we are. And then there's still a lot of work to be done behind the scenes. But then Chris has had to make sure that, we have the right team going in. We have to make sure that our tenants or the people in that area aren't affected or are minimally affected as well. So Bruce is definitely like really great about communicating with all parties. Like he's definitely like the glue that keeps us together. So like I'm floating over here on the conservative side saying, we can't do this, we can't do that, we should do this and that. Chris is like, oh no, don't worry about it. I got it. Bruce is like, wait, we haven't spoken to this party or that party. So it's been a really great learning experience. But what I'll say is that because we are collectively coming together and we are working together in unison, there may be times when the conversations are longer. There's times when we have to be creative and ensure that we're all living up to ensuring that we make sure that we can make our dream become a reality, not just for ourselves, but for those that invested and trust us in the process, as well as the communities in which we're investing in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, she hit it, definitely hit it on the nail. I mean, and that's frankly why I wanted to put this team together, because I wanted to put the best, some of the best people I could assemble, people who I knew were cared about the community, who were committed to it, who really cared about it. And that's why people can feel comfortable, because they know that we have a team, right? It's not just me. It's not just Bruce, not just Christina. We're all together. We're all working. We all have different strengths, right? So, we all have our skill sets. We all have our things about them. I mean, I drive people crazy because I'm very like, it doesn't matter. We're going to get it done. I'm not much of a process type person. So like, I'm just a get it done type person. So, accountants always hate me because I'm just like, we'll get it later. We'll turn in the receipts later. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just something that I think is really great. So we did have some challenges, obviously. Anytime, fortunately, I already had a relationship with the lender. So they had known me from previous loans. So a lot of we're able to get a lot of leeway from vendors, from lenders, because of my past experience. So people know that I'm going to pay them, so they don't have to worry about me not paying them, this, that, and the other. So we're getting afforded credit that we probably would not have normally been afforded, and I think that's something that's very beautiful. I'm very thankful to our contractors. I'm very thankful to our lenders who extended us credit. Even though as an organization we don't have experience, and that was a blessing. And I think that people bought into what we were doing, and they really believed in it. So, and now that we have what we call like a proof of concept, we've already done a project, we've got it renovated, we've got it rented out. Now, we're looking out to lending institutions, and we're really trying to expand, right? So we're looking for, good partners, people who believe in these type of things, who want to get behind, an experienced team, so we could go on and take on, 2 properties next time, or maybe 3 properties, or just whatever level we want to go to.
Okay. So what have been some of the successes as it relates to it?
Bruce, you can share some of the successes, the family that we got in there. Yeah,
we definitely getting our first apartment renovated and rented out. Just even closing on the apartment. It was, like they said, it was a difficult task when you have a group of investors and the bank is looking at you like, what are we supposed to do with this? And we had to kind of, like she said, we had to come up with an alternative path and say, okay, here we are represented as this entity. And then getting the property closed on, getting it rented out, getting the lease done, and then getting our second the other side rented out and are not getting that renovated. And it's just each step of the process is more fulfilling for us to say we're doing what we said we were going to do. We're showing it back to our investors, and they're happy with it. And then a lot of times, if you could imagine just having groups of people, we're fortunate that we've been very selective in the people who joined us. So everyone's responsive. People are all there. Even when we disagree, we are all working towards the same thing. And between me, Chris, Christina, and Mutaqee, I think we've made really good decisions. We've been transparent, and I think that's going to go a long way with carrying us forward, that people could trust us. People will see where the money they invested is at all times and what it's going to. And I think as long as we carry that reputation forward, we'll continue to be successful.
Nice.
Absolutely. I mean, I was going to say the family that we got in there actually is from we work with the International Refugee Committee.
Oh, okay.
So it's a family from Afghanistan, right? So there are some people who, we had the war there, some other challenges and whatnot. So unfortunately, many people from there had to get relocated to America, and they were looking for places to stay. So we were able to give one of those families a place to live within one of the apartments, which was vacant when we had bought it. So, we were able to buy it, fix it up quickly, and get someone in there to help with that program and their goal. So, it's about supporting other programs as well.
Nice. So Nick had a question, which was around gentrification, and I'll get to in just a moment. But for those of you who may be just joining us, we are talking with the New Era Investments and Development Group. I have Christina Lynch, Dr. Christopher Daniels, and Dr. Bruce Strobel on, and the fourth team lead on this within this group is attorney Mutaqee Akbar, who is not with us tonight. But we are talking about community investment, gentrification, affordable housing, and impact investing, right? Particularly in Black communities, and specifically, we're talking about Tallahassee because all of them are here in Tallahassee, Florida. So let me bring up Nick's question, which is, what you are talking about is the best way to combat, well, it's not a question, comment, the best way to combat gentrification. So I do have a question as it relates to that. When you all got started in this process, was that really what the goal was to combat gentrification? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that literally was the goal. To me, I like to use sayings. I say there's no defense against gentrification. There's only offense. So you have to act. You cannot sit back and wait for other people. There's nothing. You have to act, right? If you don't want gentrification, you got to buy the property. If you own the property, it can't be gentrified, right? Or there's no other way to stop it. You can say this, say that, say this and that. I've seen gentrification in multiple cities. The people who own the properties don't get gentrified. The people who don't do, right? So we have to do it, right? So the goal was to bring as much capital together as we could for that common goal, right? So what we wanted to do was, so we thought about it in several different ways, right? Because there's a lot of different ways to go about it. I mean, we could have went different ways, right? But what we wanted to do was we wanted to bring more people to the table, so have more people with a smaller dollar amount versus just asking like a couple people for a lot of money, right? So we could have maybe just went to one person and said, can we get 50,000? Can we get 100,000? And that would have been fine. We would have been fine. However, getting 20 people to give $1,000, now we're bringing 20 people into the conversation. We're bringing 20 people into the, into the environment. So we're not only getting the money, we're also giving the impact of educating them about real estate, right? So the impact is on both sides, right? So it's not just on us helping the community, it's also teaching people about investing, right? Because being involved in investing with us, a lot of people have learned more about real estate than they ever knew before, right? I mean, I'm sure, Bruce, Christina could tell you just from dealing with this process from the day to day and seeing how all it works, you probably learned a lot just from dealing with this. So now they're empowered to be able to go out and, maybe buy more properties or this, that, and the other. So it's about, it's a two-pronged strategy. So it's about empowering our investors and also empowering the community as well.
Love it. No, that's very powerful. In fact, I was going to ask, like, what's been some of the feedback from the investors who maybe like this was their first time investing in real estate?
Yeah. You were talking to one of our investors earlier, TT Talks, DJ Nostalgic. She is one of the people who started with us. She's at one of our first interest meetings. And she said, I've been looking to get into this, but I didn't know a lot. And I was like, well, we all here to learn together. And, I was like, just trust us. And I think at our last interest meeting, she spoke and she said she applauded us for our transparency, our ability to work through difficult situations. And she was also happy about what she learned along the way. So TT, put something in the comments, say, no, I'm not just making this up. And then, like a lot of our members and supporters are just people who are our friends and community members who we know. And we all just kind of jumped in this together. And we've got all positive reviews as far as I'm aware of. So yeah.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, if there are any investors on the live, please in the comments let us know. Give us some feedback on your experience thus far. Give us some feedback. So, I'm kind of curious. I'm a details person. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. So, Chris, me and you will be fighting, okay? Because I need to know. I'm dotting the I's and crossing the T's, all that sort of stuff. So I'm really curious about what this agreement looks like, and if there's a return on investment that is thought that will be, is that something that's put in writing, or how do y'all handle all of that?
That's a good question, Nicole. I'll speak for some of it, and then I'll let Bruce also speak as well. I am a details person as well, detail-oriented person. And I can tell you, I was definitely the spokesman for anyone who needed something in writing. So we are legitimate, not just as far as an LLC, but every investor, when you invest, you become an owner. So you sign an operating agreement. So you know exactly how the entity is being operated, how we operate that agreement. The idea is annually we'll look at what our profits are and give distributions based off the profit and your ownership percentage. So you do have the opportunity to have a return on investment. And Bruce did say there is risk, but the risk is only limited to what you invest in. So the idea is it's a net gain for everyone. So as we purchase properties, as we rent them, and we're gaining that profit, it'll be evaluated and returned back to the investors. So it's definitely you get your K-1 at the end of the year when we file our taxes to put onto your personal tax return. So you are an owner. It's not a matter of giving money and you don't know what happens from that point forward. We're working towards having quarterly meetings. That way everyone can be part of the process. Definitely making sure we have financials in place, having projections when we go to purchase properties. So that's really where I come in. I'm doing a lot of the background work to ensure that we are doing our due diligence for the organization and all of the owners. So even with this round of seeking new owners or new investors, there'll be a new operating agreement that goes out that everyone signs. So there's definitely some governance that's required by our organization and by all the owners. So that's why we want to have those quarterly meetings. That's why we want everyone to be engaged and create that space for people to provide feedback, because we need your voice and we need your expertise as well to ensure that we remain in line. I am committed to making sure that this is a long-term project, a long-term initiative, but making sure that this can be passed down through generations and that no one can take it from us. So that's really my part, is we are crossing our T's and dotting our I's.
I don't know if y'all feel that, but Christina's serious about this thing. You hear me? I felt all of that energy coming through. Like, this is some dynastic wealth we're talking about. Okay, some legacy building, right? I love that. Now we have got quite a few questions in here. So let me, Joyce Thompson, my FAMU classmate, she said, does your group help with purchasing foreclosures or REO properties? And for those of you who may not know what an REO property is, that's real estate owned property. So any thoughts around that?
So yes, we can. The amount of funds that we have right now don't really allow for purchasing foreclosures or REOs at this particular time, because we're needing to use financing. So usually foreclosures or REOs typically are like cash purchases. Now we would love to purchase some REOs directly from banks who could provide us with financing. That's something that we want to move into. So if there, anyone who knows some community banks or whatever who may have some REO properties that they're looking to, get back out there, we would certainly, be interested in buying directly from the bank. So these are things that we would definitely look into. So if anyone has contacts, we'd be happy to do so.
Okay, good deal. So we also have a question about how can we make the conversation about investment development in the community more palatable to our community members who are not privy to the type of knowledge or topics discussed? Good question.
Christina, you want that one? That's your expertise.
So part of that quarterly meetings, if someone was interested, you have the opportunity to speak to Bruce or myself, depending on the types of questions that you have. But the idea is that if you give, like right now for our call for investors, you have a minimum investment of $2,500. Your funds, along with the funds of anyone else who chooses to join, are pulled together to purchase properties. And we're using a collective approach versus asking one person for all the funds or two people. From there, we take the money and we'll purchase properties and rent them out or sell them. But even with that, we communicate to the members. So the leader, we come together as a group, we have the meeting, and we'll explain what the options are and open the floor for our members to ask any questions. And I'm big on safe spaces. So if no question is too stupid, no question is too silly, because I am not a real estate expert as well. So I'm also learning in the process. From there, we'll explain and break it down as much as we need to make sure that everyone understands what we're doing. So that's why the transparency has been critical for us, because you don't have to be a real estate expert to join the group. You just have to have a passion for passion for the cause. And that is stopping gentrification and also keeping some of the power within the community.
Right.
So if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to Bruce and then we can schedule a time to speak.
All right. I hope that answered your question. Nick does have a question. He said, give me your strategy to challenge of access to capital that all investors go through. Do you run into challenges in getting qualified to buy properties?
So some of it we're able to get around because what we're able to do is I'm able to use my personal experience. So because I have personal experience, most lenders will lend to me because of my personal experience, right? So as long as we can bring the funds to the table, getting the loan is not a problem. So it's just about having the funds for the down payment or whatever required equity that we need to have in the deal. So that's our biggest. So our really the only thing that we really need is just enough capital to be able to put down a 10% or maybe a 20% down payment, and we're able to buy a home. So fortunately, we do have some good lending institutions who are willing to lend. But the main thing is just having the down payment money and also having some more liquidity for repairs or other things like that. Those are the main things that we need capital for.
Okay, very good. Nick had an additional question. How will the Fed's increasing interest rates impact you?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's something that, it was a decision from up top. It actually is somewhat good for people in our realm because the raising interest rates actually pushes people down into cheaper properties because that's what they can afford. So now we're having more demand in neighborhoods that maybe people previously had not thought about buying in because these are the areas where they can afford homes, right? So right now on the property that we're working on Dunn Street, there's actually 2 brand new houses being built right down the street. There's another brand new house being built on Delaware. There's a couple other brand new houses on Clay Street. There's a few other brand new houses. So a lot of people are coming into Frenchtown now because actually the price per square foot for the home is more of a value. So I think that's something that's good. So for us, it's actually a good thing because now we're seeing a better, stronger demand for our properties.
Yeah, no. So it works on both ends, right? From the standpoint of you not being able to buy a lot of home for the money when the rates go up, but like you said, that does push folks down to the price point that you all are operating in. And so, what does that also do to the value of the property?
I mean, so the demand for the properties is high. I mean, I just got an appraisal for a property that I had in Bond. I was actually very surprised that it had appreciated so much. So actually, properties in Frenchtown and Bond, other places like that, are actually appreciating pretty well. I think a lot of people will be very happy with their property values. So, as long as this property's well maintained, they're appreciating well because in comparison to other neighborhoods, it's still so much cheaper. Right. Price per square foot in these areas is so much less than in other neighborhoods. So even if it's a little bit, it just being cheaper than that still is you can get you a strong return.
Indeed. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that. So we got another question specifically about the investing part. Once a minimum investment is put forward, is there an annual investment requirement for the individual investors?
So I'll take that one. Basically, the way our operating agreement works, we have the ability, and we have to work with the whole group. And once we could take a vote, and if we all agree as a group we meet our threshold, then we can put out another funding call. But those are things that we discuss. We talk it over with the group. We want to make sure that being a part of this team is not something that's painful for anyone. And I mean, we are not here to extract money for people. We want this to be a beneficial process. So that's something we wouldn't do without consideration and discussion and how we move forward. So yeah.
Okay. No, good question. Good question.
Excellent question.
Anything else that you want the potential investors to know about, becoming a part of the group?
I'll start with that one. I think you'll see that you're joining. We look at ourselves kind of as a team, with kind of myself, Chris, Christina, and Mutaqee kind of as the team leads. And the idea is simply that we're trying to kind of steer this and navigate us to prosperity while at the same time protecting those community values. And I think our level of communication is frequent enough and transparent enough that anyone, once you get invest, you'll feel comfortable. You'll know where we use a platform called Tribus. I forgot to mention that. And Tribus allows you to, when you make your investment, you will see where money is. If we make a transaction, everyone will get an email. You see the receipts. Like, it's all right there. So that really increases the transparency, and it helps us build trust amongst each other, because everyone in the group knows what's going on. We can hold voting right in Tribus as well, and then we just we're always communicating. So I think that's what has worked for our group so far, being that we have a large group, a larger team than most investment groups doing real estate, and that is what has been working for us. So we're going to continue to go that route.
Okay, very good, very good. All right, so Nick is asking, what's the minimum investment?
Christina?
So the minimum investment is $2,500. And I will say there's also a maximum investment of $5,500. Okay. So we have the maximum to make sure that we can remain collective, and we don't want one person being able to put a bunch of money in and try to do a hostile takeover, essentially, in a gentle way. So the idea is, again, kind of making sure that we remain on track and focused with being a collective group. So you can invest anywhere from $2,500 to $5,500.
Okay. Sounds like y'all got it mapped out pretty good. Let's see. I thought I saw another question. Let me look. I'm scrolling back down. And he's asking about the return now. So you kind of touched on that, right?
Yes. So what we do is annually we look at the financial performance of the company, and we return the profits back to the owners based on your ownership percentage. So as our portfolio of real estate increases, the profits would increase, and then you would see that return. But it's done annually, that we'll evaluate what the profit is after making sure that we have enough for operating costs and any potential repairs, and then we return that. We give it back to the owner. So it can vary from year to year.
Okay, very good. So Nick is saying that this is such an interesting concept.
Awesome. Let's put that sign up sheet out there. We would love to have you on the team, Commissioner Maddox.
Indeed. All right. So I have put the investor form, new investor interest form in the chat, so folks can click on there and get whatever instructions there are. Now, will you be opening this up? Do you have a certain time of year that you will be doing this in terms of accepting new investors?
We are currently open right now, taking new investors. Okay. Our goal is to reach 50 investors, and we are open until October 21st. That's our date for right now. If that changes, we'll make an announcement to everyone who signs up. But right now, we're open to October 21st because we have some properties that we are interested in and getting ready to make moves. So we are asking people to ask more questions if you need anything, and then let's get involved. We don't stand around waiting. These prices what they say, yesterday's price is not today's price. So we got to take action and strike while the iron is hot.
That's right. Yeah. So October 21st, trying to reach 50 investors. And again, y'all can check out the form, which is in the comments, and let folks know. Now, do the investors need to be here in Tallahassee?
No, you do not have to be here in Tallahassee. And I think this is something that we've talked about a lot. However, we do screen, and we are looking for a certain type of investors. If your only goal in life is to make money and make more money, you don't care about what happens to people, this may not be the investment fund. I know they're gonna get mad at me because I might be turning away money, right? But we mean this, right? We want the right kind of investors because this is a community project. We may start other funds that are simply for people to make money in the future, but this project here is for social impact investing, right? So we want people who care about the community and are also looking to make money simultaneously, realizing that we're not going to take any unethical practices to increase the fund. We're going to grow organically, sustainably, and in a way that benefits everyone. And that's that slow, sustainable growth that happens over time. It's not that get rich quick overnight by exploiting and extracting resources from people. That's not what we're about here. So I say that in all transparency, so you know when you join us, you're joining the good guys, the team that's trying to win for everybody.
No, I'm glad you said that, and because I think that's important. The social impact is just as much a part of this investment group, right? It's not just the economic piece, but it's the social piece as well. So yeah, I love it.
But I would say one thing we can always assure you: you can do well by doing good, right? Frankly, there are good returns. We'll have kind of some of our, at the end of the year, we'll be able to show our projections from this year because we just got our first property, so we'll be able to look at the income, the expenses, so we'll be able to show. But we're confident, it's going to be good, and people are going to be happy with the return. And in addition to being happy with their financial return, also the social impact. So it's just a win-win, right? So when you get your K1, you'll be happy, and then you'll also be happy with the story behind how we got to that point. So we're very confident in that.
Nice. Well, this is exciting. This is great work, and I'm glad that you all are doing this here, and I'm excited for the expansion as well. Yeah, Nick said it's the story for me.
Thank you. Yep.
Indeed. All right. Well, anything else y'all want to share with us, kind of in closing, as we get ready to end this conversation? But not folks that are interested. You definitely want to get involved and get engaged with the New Era Investment and Development team. All right, Ms. Tabla said thank you all. Wonderful. Anything else? Now I'm gonna let you all have like a final word. So we'll start off with Christina.
Well, I just want to say thank you for hosting us. Thank you for those who've tuned in. Even if you're just here to learn more about what we do and how we do it, really it's spreading the word and making sure that we continue on the right path. So whether you have feedback or are interested, if you have questions, feel free to contact Bruce or myself, and we'll make sure that we can connect and at least try to answer questions and create any more clarity that's needed. But again, we're just really here to share the message and find like-minded individuals, whether you're in Tallahassee or not.
All right, very good. Okay. Wait, hold on. We got a lot going on here. At least I do. Hold on. Ish wants to know, and Ishmael is another one of my FAMU classmates. He says, where will there be a focus on commercial development in the future? Will there be? Excuse me.
Absolutely. So again, one of the strategies was the strategy was this, right? We wanted to get a lot of people, and then eventually we could say if we have 100 people, then we can say, hey guys, can everyone put in $3,000? And now we have $300,000, right? Now you can get into those commercial developments. We can start building apartments. We can buy strip malls. We can do all that, right? But we wanted to take it step by step. So we didn't want to kind of just go straight there at first, right? So we want to get the numbers, and then we say, hey, look, guys, we got an opportunity, and I will certainly have opportunities coming very soon where we can do bigger projects. So yeah, that's absolutely something that we would love to do, and something that is in the pipeline. We just wanted to build our capacity first and make sure that once we get there and take it down, that everyone will be happy with how it comes out.
Indeed. All right, Bruce, I'm going to give you an opportunity to share also your information because you are the point of contact. So final words, and how can they connect with you?
Again, thank you, Nicole, for hosting us. You're a community resource. I hope you know that, and we really appreciate you. You all can reach me, Bruce Strobel, at gmail.com, and a simple email there. I'll respond to emails about 14 hours a day because I'm always on my phone responding to emails. And that way, if you have any questions, I can get you to the right person, or I can get the answer for you. And then if you're interested in joining us, we can get you onboarded. And if you just want to know more, you have feedback for us, we would love to hear that as well. And yeah, that's the primary point of contact. And if you don't have that, you can also just find me on Facebook. I'm just at my name, Bruce Strobel, or Instagram, Professor Strobel. So any way to contact me, and I'm kind of serving as a point of contact. We'll be transitioning to launching our website point of contact in the next several days. But in the meantime, just reach out to me and I'll get you transition along. So that's all. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. So Vanessa just asked about how can we spread the word? Would love to repost. Are you all on social media? So you're working on that, right?
Yeah. And Vanessa, we're friends on social media. So you can go to my page and reshare any of the stuff that I put up.
And you can also share this link.
Share this
on YouTube. Listen.
All right.
Right. All right. We got Torio Osborne on. He said, so you could co-participate as LP. Does anybody know what that is?
Yes.
Limited partner.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Cool. So all investors, so minus the leadership team, and the investors are limited partnerships.
Okay.
Or limited partners. So your liability is limited to only the amount in which you invest in.
Okay, good deal. And Joy says she is sending you a friend request now. All right, Chris, any final words?
Yeah, I mean, thank you for having us. I'm very excited. You know, this has been a dream of mine, and to see it come true is just always amazing. It just always makes me smile. I guess the biggest thing I would just say is that I want everyone to feel comfortable that their investment is safe, right? We have the top level contractors. We have top level real estate professionals. This is not like a mom and pop type situation, right? I mean, I'm doing several properties. I have about 12 properties in Frenchtown right now, a bunch in Bond. So the same contractors that I'm using for all of my projects are the same ones we're using here as well, right? So I want everyone to feel safe that we're going to make sure that we, make these investments, sound investments, and that everyone's going to benefit on both sides.
All right. Y'all heard it right here on Conversations with Nicole. New Era Investments and Development. They are open to new investors right now through October 21st. I put the interest form in the comments, so check it out and get involved. Social impact, economic impact in Black communities, doing great and wonderful things, and trying to what did you say, Bruce? Was it Bruce or Chris that talked about gentrification in terms of if you want to stop it, you got to own the property?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So become an owner. All right, good people. We signing off. Thank you all for your comments. If this has been beneficial to you, please share it with someone. Tag a friend. Let them know that New Era Investments and Development is taking new investors, and you can have a piece of the pie in a social investment way, but also an economic gains as well, but doing some great things for the community. So we will catch y'all next time. Peace.
Thank you.